Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new video. I thought I'd record something for my personal channel because it feels like the channel has died slightly, and it's...
I wouldn't say it's died per se, more just been abandoned about, left in a cupboard.
Yeah, it doesn't really make that sound any better, does it, really?
No, I think I just made it sound worse.
So I thought I'd record an idea that I had to do, and I haven't had Michael on the channel for a little while, so I thought I'd invite him on again. The last one we did was the Doctor Who tag.
That is true.
I think, which was a year and a half ago, so... But obviously, by the title, we are discussing what we would do if we were Doctor Who's new showrunner.
Indeed.
Because we just had Series 11.
Well, you say just, more 4 months.
4 or 5 months ago, Series 11 happened. It was quite controversial, really, wasn't it?
You say it happened, it unfortunately it happened.
It did, yeah. So, but we won't touch upon that. To sort of, before we sort of go on to our subject, we'll give a very brief opinion of Series 11.
Well,
let's do it in about 2 or 3 words. So, what would you say if you had to sum up Series 11 in 2 or 3 words?
2 or 3 words.
You can be individual words, or so. I'm going to say playing it safe.
I would probably go with dull, with some minor interesting peaks, but other than that, not something that I was like, I must watch the next episode every week. It's like, meh.
Well, we were talking off camera about this, the fact that you particularly have caught every episode as and when it's sort of come, or roughly close enough.
Up until season 11, I've watched every episode every night when it was coming out. Every night when it came out on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Series 11 came along and I was like...
It was about episode 4.
I think after the 4th episode, I was like... I'll just watch it on iPlayer. And that's what I did. Yeah. I waited until the end of the season and you're there going, what did you think? What did you think? And I'm like going, oh...
I'm 5 episodes behind. I'm like, oh, okay.
So I watched it all and I'd be like, well, that was really anticlimactic.
It is. So what we thought was an idea, because a lot of people seem to have thrown ideas about, you know, what they think Doctor Who should be now and how they would do certain things. And I thought, this is not us, because at the end of the day, we've never worked in a TV environment, although I hope to one day.
Well, you say that, but working for yourself on YouTube pretty much is the point of, you know, if you could do a TV channel, you probably could. If you've done enough videos on YouTube, you know what you do.
I mean, it doesn't give me a complete expertise, and I've only had a bit of extra work and a bit of work experience involved in that sort of field.
Well, yeah.
So to jump onto something like a showrun, the BBC's primetime sci-fi show, I wouldn't say I was quite qualified. I don't think.
No, yeah, I could agree with you on that one. I could agree with the not quite qualified.
But what I would say is, I think this is so taking that aside, we'll put that aside. This is what we'd probably do with maybe Series 12 and what we would do if we were given a fresh start. So I think probably a good point to start would be, so we've got Series 12, we've got the cast, Jodie Whittaker, Mandip Gill, Tosin Cole, Bradley Walsh. That's what you're given.
Are we strictly, you know, specifically, these are the people you're given, you're not allowed to get others in?
Not necessarily, but you have to work with those 4, and you could do and write out a number of them, all of them, some of them, up to you. But you're given those 4 characters for the prolonged duration of the 12 series.
Can you add in others?
You can, yes.
Can you bring in returning people?
Potentially, yes. You can do as long as the only framework I'm working off here is those 4 because they're already confirmed for the series. What you would do with those characters now that we've seen them in the series. And would you keep beyond Series 12? Would you keep any of them? Would you?
I think personally I would probably keep them. I would keep them for, you know, at least try and do 4 seasons. But I would try and change the way it's written.
Yeah.
Personally, it was just too... They've gone with the sort of thing of the... You don't need to watch every single episode to understand what's happened.
No.
Which for me sort of lost interest. If I were to run the show, I'd have this opening episode of the new season. It would be, right, blah, X happens, they go off to somewhere else. But each time they go off, there'd be like an underlying issue. Everything links back into each other. So it's all sort of interconnected, interwoven, like a giant crochet blanket.
Yeah.
But not so convoluted that, you know, it takes 3 seasons, Stephen Moffat, to get an explanation as to who River Song is.
Yeah.
You know.
As an example.
But what I'm saying is that at least it had interest. It had you watching it every week to know what happens next.
Yeah.
You know, they tied into each other, and maybe not directly, but you could see from watching it that bits of that would tie into bits of the other episodes.
Things like Bad Wolf, Harold Saxon.
Yes.
A lot of things, even things like there's one thing they could have done with Series 11. There was the Timeless Child thing that was mentioned in episode 2. Didn't go with anything. It might have been because Doctor Who's done that before, and it could have just been a throwaway line. But the way the show has worked before that, you know, people were going to assume that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
It's going to be something to do with that, and it was never delivered upon.
Which was a shame, because I think...
What would you do with the companions? Me personally would write out Ryan and Graham and give Yasmin more to do.
I mean, the current dynamic, it works. You know, each of them has a specific set of skills that they're good at. Mm-hmm. You know, Yasmin is good at keeping
Standing
authority.
And doing cool. No.
No, she's good at keeping authority.
But she's
Graham's good at keeping, you know, wise.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other dude, which I can't remember his name, Ryan. Ryan, for me, could just be on the sidelines, personally. I've not yet seen enough of him to go, oh, he can do this.
Well, the thing is, they established him because he's got dyspraxia.
Exactly.
And they covered that in episode 1, and then they touched upon it again in episode 2, and it never came up again.
No.
I liked what happened with Ryan and Graham. That's why I think Ryan's been through a lot of shit. He's lost his mum, he's lost his nan.
Yeah.
You know, Graham's the only one sort of there.
But isn't
so that's
completely
why people say,
blood related.
Would if Graham gets, I don't know, killed off or something at the end of series 12, I think the poor lad's been through enough. I think
I think to a point he'll probably just be like, yeah.
But if Graham goes, I can see Ryan carrying on with the Doctor. But if Ryan goes, Graham wouldn't, would he?
No, I don't think he would.
So they're sort of interlinked in that way. And yet Yasmin hasn't. She's a police officer. I forgot she was a police officer.
Well, that's the thing.
They've never touched upon that.
She just sort of gets given like roles, like research roles. Oh, go research this, and then she disappears for half an episode. Pottering away
there's a few moments where she could have, you know, used the police authority to help in a situation.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't remember her actually doing that at all after.
No, I don't think she did. I think it was very much sort of.
I would
it.
Expand Yasmin a bit. I'll give Ryan and Graham a reasonably comfortable resolution. Yet Yaz stay on along because I think she works nice with the Doctor.
Yeah.
And give add a third companion in series 13 alongside Yaz.
Yeah, could agree with that.
And have the dynamic between two and then I'd probably write them both out of that. What would you do with Jodie then?
What would I do with Jodie? I would keep Jodie in because I want to see more of what she does. I would obviously completely rechange the wardrobe. Not being funny.
Really don't like
I really do not like that wardrobe.
The scarf
don't mind the scarf. What I don't get is the BBC did a thing. They showed off Jodie Whittaker in this black hooded coat, long coat, hooded thing. Looked amazing. So what happened between that wardrobe department and the wardrobe department we got now, God only knows. It just...
You wouldn't see that stuff in the charity shop, which is where she picked it up from, would you, really?
No.
But at the end of the day, it does call back a bit to the stroked across the front of the shirt.
Yeah.
Calls back a bit to Tom Baker's thing.
Yeah, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to obviously appeal to a brand new, wider audience, but still keep a good handful of the diehards happy.
Yeah.
The problem with that is you can't win. It's two forces against each other. You're going to have the diehards that are going to be like, it's got to be this, it's got to have this, it's got to do that.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the casuals that are going to be, oh yeah, but no, it's got to have this and this and this. And then you're going to have
someone off.
Yeah, somebody is going to be pissed off.
That's the thing.
And it's either going to be a case of you either appeal to the audience and piss off the higher aboves who pay for it, or keep the higher aboves happy that pay for it and piss off those that watch it.
Without those that watch it, the show doesn't make the money.
Exactly.
It's difficult, isn't it?
So you've got to. It's about finding a compromise.
I wouldn't bring too much back. I'd probably
like a
character or two.
Yeah. I do want to see before, heaven forbid, when Barrowman does kick the bucket. I would like to see him back in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
back in where it all began for him.
I think his
in
character
Doctor
would work
Who.
nice against Jodie as well because it's an entirely different dynamic as
Yes,
well.
that would be
You know
nice.
what I would see it as? I think it would be good for Jack not to recognise the Doctor.
Yes, that
So-
would be an also curveball.
Because that would be quite an interesting...
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that Jack spots, the 11th,
Because at the end of the day,
Doctor, not knowing that it's a
looking pretty
woman.
good right now. I mean,
Could you imagine them hitting on the Jack hitting on?
have you seen? Because the way Jodie's portrayed the Doctor, then in the Rosa episode, they obviously Graham and the Doctor pretended to be a couple. Well, Yaz and Ryan sort of hid away in that bathroom because obviously, and the Doctor's reaction from just that thought was quite funny because you saw on Jodie's face. She's had those moments so far, and the Doctor doesn't quite. It's so early on for her now. The Doctor doesn't quite grasp the idea of being a woman at the moment. Really,
Well,
it's
no,
kind of funny.
but then you've got to think when you've spent the last
We're
decade
talking
being a
thousands
man.
of years, yeah. But,
When you've spent the last few thousand millennia being a dude, having a sudden sex change is going to throw quite the curveball.
yeah, the Master took it well, didn't he?
Well,
Oh, sort of.
sort
Anyway,
of. We've digressed.
So we
again.
digressed again. So basically, what I would do with Series 12 now, I would bring in a couple. You know what? Talking about the Master, I might bring in the Master again, but back as a male. So
Yes.
I think if you watch John Sim in Series 10, not obviously John Sim, I'd probably cast a new actor. Because the Master is quite. I mean, you look at him, the way he treats and talks about Bill and stuff. The Master is very not anti, because the Master represented what. I suppose the old school.
He's very.
towards women.
It was
And I
very
think-
purist.
Yeah.
It was they do this and we do this and they don't cross. They don't sort of cross over.
Missy really threw him off kilt, and I think actually bringing a male Master against Jodie's Doctor particularly, I think it wouldn't work against a male Doctor again.
But then, how would you bring the Master back? Because if you relate back to the episode where we see both versions of the Master, kill each other. How does that work?
But you know what? There's an ongoing joke in Doctor Who. The Master has died quite a lot in the show, and then he's always come back
Somehow.
And they've never explained why he's come back.
They never explain
And
why
you know
or
what? I think
how.
there should be a joke there where it's sort of like that's the one thing the Master has over the Doctor, the survivability, and the Doctor never works out how the Master survives each of these things.
Never.
People go lazy writing, but it's this point. It's not the first time the Master has just shown up again and gone, "I'm still alive. I'm not going to tell you how."
It's like he's turned up and he's gone, "Well, I'm still here. You still haven't dealt with me, right?"
Yeah. So
Somehow.
at this point the Doctor doesn't know it's happened either.
Well, no.
So it won't come as a surprise to anybody. But anyway, so that's what I do. I'll probably put the Master in it, or at least 13, Series 13.
Yeah, but wouldn't the Doctor know about the two Masters though? Because he was there with the two Masters on the roof of that building when we had.
Yeah, but they went off and ran away. As far as he's concerned, they've just buggered off with it.
They've just swanned off.
They've just swanned off because he didn't know Missy was going to come back.
No, I suppose not.
So as far as the Doctor's concerned, the Master and Missy hopped in the Master's TARDIS and zipped off with the new chameleon circuit and gone off and done stuff in the universe. So when another incarnation shows up, there's no.
Well, I mean, we've only had.
Explain away anything.
Although saying that though, there have only been 6 carnations of the Master. So, therefore,
7. You're counting that wrong.
Alright, 7.
Delgado, Pratt, Ainley, Ed Roberts, Jacoby, Sim, and Gomez is 7.
Alright,
Plus
7.
a few extras. Don't comment saying, "Oh, well, what about Alex McQueen and Big Finish?" Yes, he counts as well. But for the purpose of this video and the purpose of the fact there's a poster up there, I'm going to say 7.
Well, yeah.
But
I mean, I don't count Audibles quite as canon. Not by a long shot.
Series 12 is a fresh slate.
Yeah.
Completely. You haven't got to keep any characters.
Haven't got to keep anybody. Right. For a start,
would you keep Jodie or would you?
I would keep Jodie. I definitely would keep Jodie because I do feel that there's an area there that hasn't quite yet been discovered. She's still very new into the Doctor, very new into the role as well. So for me, if you're gonna get when you get a new actor in, you've got to give them, the time to get used to it. Like they did with Tennant, Smith, and Capaldi. They all had a decent run,
Yeah.
and you know, at first I didn't like Smith at first.
No,
but I warmed to him.
You really didn't like Capaldi at first, either.
Capaldi, I don't think so much it came down to it. It wasn't so much Capaldi that was the problem. I think I was having more of a problem with the writing than I was with Capaldi as the Doctor, because I did slowly begin to grow to love watching Capaldi's Doctor.
Okay. So we'll talk about writing. We'll get onto that topic very quickly. We've had a bunch of writers from Series 11.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do? So you got to do 10 episodes.
Right.
Who would you get to write it? Now, if you got control over it and say Chibnall's still involved, would you have Chibnall do any of the episodes?
First of all, what I would do is I would have. So if I'm making a series of 10 episodes,
yeah,
right, I get 10 writers.
10 unique writers.
10 writers.
Who would write the finale? And would you get say if it's still your show but Chris Chibnall has to sort of oversee the thing, would you get Chibnall to do the last
I
episode?
would maybe consider having Chibnall write something, because I've seen Broadchurch, I've seen how good it can be.
Yeah.
Now
I think he overdid himself with Series 11, didn't he?
I don't think it was so much he overdid it. I think what that was is he sort of
spread himself quite thin.
He spread thin and played it very safe.
Yeah.
They touched a bit with the political areas and
which I'm not bothered about.
And bits and pieces.
You know, Rosa was
fine.
It
was alright. Yeah, some of the episodes were really good. But bringing it back, they played it very safe. There wasn't a lot of like shock moments where it's like, oh
no,
God.
There wasn't, was there? There was no moment of you didn't feel like any of the characters were
making a decision that actually properly influenced it. And
we almost had it with Graham in the last episode where he was going to kill Sim Sharp.
Yeah.
But then it didn't happen. He was like, I'm going to kill him. And the Doctor's like, if you do that, you're not
better than he is.
And then he went, I don't kill him. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And then carried on. Happy days.
Yeah.
It didn't really, you didn't get any of that tension. You don't get any drama between the cast. They're just like, we're friends and we're staying friends and there's no conflict.
Yeah. It was literally all aboard the happy train.
Yeah. And I think that's what annoyed a few fans, I think, because there was no sense of like, well, surely there'd be some degree. That many characters as well.
With that many heads in one place, you've gonna have a clash. You're gonna have difference of opinions, difference of views, and different things on how things should be done. But you didn't get that across. But when I'm going back to what I said though, I would have 10 unique writers doing the episodes. But before they actually put pen to paper, it's all sitting in a room. Writer's room.
Yeah.
Where we're just having a discussion.
Plot the series out from
beginning to end, making sure that we have the fundamentals of making something that people are going to go, this was amazing.
Yeah.
Even if it involves, looking back at old stuff like The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances.
Yeah.
Those sorts of two-parters where they're, fundamentally linked.
That's another thing. I would at least a couple of those would be two-parters.
Definitely.
You need a cliffhanger. Doctor Who doesn't do well without a cliffhanger.
The thing was, what kept me coming back week after week was the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
They leave it in such a sort of cliffhangery way.
I might even say every 10 episodes, 5 two-parters. But then you'd have to have maybe, I don't know, 2 writers on it. Would you bring anyone back for any of the writers in Series 11?
I would if some of the if say Rusty Davis.
I mean, I'm focusing on the ones that Chibnall brought in for Series 11.
I don't know any of them.
Shall I list some of them off and tell you which ones they did? So obviously Chibnall did. Obviously, we know what Chibnall did. He did Woman Who Fell to Earth, Ghost Monuments. He co-wrote Rosa. He did Arachnids in the UK, Ceramic Conundrum, Battle of Round Square Colossus, and Resolution.
Yeah.
So he did quite a but we had Mallory Blackman did Rosa with Chibnall. Mm-hmm. We had Vinny Patel did Demons of the Punjab. We had Pete McTee did Kablan. Who else was there? Joy Wilkinson did The Witchfinders, and Ed Heim did It Takes You Away. Now, out of all of those, the one I'm most keen to bring back would be Pete McTee, who did Kablan. Because I think out of this 10 episodes, that was the most Doctor Who-y of the lot. I think he got the tone of the series.
Yeah, I don't think I remember much about Kablan. I might actually have to rewatch that because I don't remember.
Basically, the Amazon episode, the one with all the robots and the parcel and they're in that.
That one.
Yeah. The reason being is I was watching that and it felt Doctor Who.
It did. It did feel very Doctor Who.
Has done. I've got it set up there, but the Blu-ray box sets. The classic series Blu-rays. He writes those booklets. He's very intertwined with Doctor Who, and he's not mentioned to the series before that one. but that was the one that impressed me most. It was like he's got the feel.
I mean, for me, I definitely would have Moffat come back and maybe write a two-parter, because his two-parters were good, like the Science of the Library.
But he's now said he's written most episodes of Doctor Who ever.
But yeah, in a hypothetical world, yes, I would have Moffat and Davis back for maybe writing the.
I wouldn't Moffat. I think he's done more. He's done his fair share.
I mean, yeah, I can agree with that. But there was some of his two-parters though that he's done that were brilliant.
Yeah, under Russell though.
That was under Russell.
Yeah. I'd bring Russell if Russell would do one. I'll get Russell to write one.
I wouldn't heartbeat.
But I wouldn't get Stephen. I think Stephen's done his fair share. If I was going to get some other writers, I'd probably bring, because they've done it in series 10. I'd bring back a classic series writer, somebody who wrote the old show.
Yeah.
There's obviously, as the years go by, we are running out of. They are slowly dying off.
They are slowly dying off.
But one of the major writers, Terence Dicks, who did some real big. He did the 5 Doctors. He did the big 20th anniversary stuff.
Yeah.
He's written some of the most popular ones, and I think he's still around. He's actually touch wood. He's probably I don't know. As far as he's recording, and as far as I'm aware, he's still alive.
Yeah.
I'll get him to write one because I think he knows the show, and I think he can. But yeah, barring limitations, obviously we are.
Well, exactly. But I think when it comes down to it, is for me though, the series itself needs to have an underlying arc, because that's what kept me interested. That's what kept me coming back week after week after week. Was that there was an underlying arc that gradually fed into this massive thing at the end of it.
Yeah.
Which I felt was great. It was rewarding to watch. And this season didn't have that.
No.
I would make sure that if I were doing the show running of a series, it would have that. I want it to have this big sort of like Shazam.
Yeah, the finale needs to feel like a finale. I know what Showrunner was going with. He wanted to feel like the older series, where there wasn't really a finale. You just have the last story and then you'd move on.
But the thing with the older series is you had one episode spread over 4 days.
It was spread over 4 parts.
Four parts
you'd have
to make one episode.
Yeah,
so the logic behind it makes sense. You have one episode, 4 parts.
It doesn't really work in the modern day.
But in today's world, where you have Netflix and Amazon and all these lot, it may not work.
No.
So that's something you also have to bear in mind. But like I said, it's that underlying arc. It needs to have something that is connected to all the little details. And it's the little details that that can link all of it together. And then when you get to the end, having this big sort of like realization, like that. Oh, so
that was the thing, yeah.
So that was linked to that,
and no spoilers, because you know what? Because what they've done with Series 11, they were so holding everything to their chest, going, we're not even telling you the episode name.
But one thing,
magazine was more like,
do you know what?
The episode names. Going,
do you know what really annoyed me though? Do you know what really annoyed me?
What really annoyed you?
Was at the end of the first season, not the first season, at the end of the first episode of Series 11, what did the BBC go and do? They went and put a trailer all together, and it's like, look who we've got! We've got this person, this person.
Actors.
So I don't want. I think
that was for the general public. Because you know what? I looked at that list of actors. You know what? After watching the episodes themselves, actually 2 or 3 of them do ring true.
Yeah.
I know, but the only one I recognised while watching that trailer was Lee Mack. No one else. I went, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Oh, it's Lee Mack. Who's that? Who's that?
Who's that? And that's just it. For me, I don't care. Who they're going to have in. That's what the title intro credits are for. To have your actors' names pop up. Yeah. Who's in the episodes. I don't want to sit there at the end of the first episode and have a screenshot of every single actor in their costume, because then it effectively just goes, well, that's what they're doing over the next 4 weeks. That doesn't work for me. It doesn't. Because at the end of an episode, it needs to have a little bit of a teaser to the next one,
and nothing else.
And nothing else. No more. After that, it's straight cut out the door.
Yeah.
Nothing else to do with it.
So that's what I said about because they held it too close to their chest. They had
I'm surprised
they had nothing to hold to them. It's like that's the thing going. We're not giving you any spoilers, but then watching the episodes once they come out, and you go,
well, there was nothing to spoil.
Yeah, the only thing was the Dalek in Resolution, and and you know what they did with the trailer? They dropped an exterminate at the end of it had the big trailer. It's the most dangerous creature. What is it? Cut to the end, and you go exterminate. Literally about 2 or 3 days before the episode came out, I was like, you were holding. That's the only playing card you had.
Yeah.
And you've gone. We'll just show it 2 days before. And you hear exterminate. You go, well, it's obviously a Dalek. Everyone watching that trailer went, well, it's obviously a Dalek.
It's obviously a Dalek.
It's obviously a Dalek. But they didn't tell. And then they go, oh, it is a Dalek.
Yeah.
But. So throughout the series going, we didn't know anything about the episodes, but
I'm kind of glad because it was nothing.
And then there was nothing to spoil.
No.
And now we've got series 12, and they've gone, oh, the Jodie are in the new series. I was like, oh, so they've just gone back on themselves again. You know what really annoyed me? Because it's like, when John Sim came back, they went, John Sim's back. And we're like, great, but then there was no point would that have been leaked, because all the stuff John Sim did for Series 10 was either in studio, which wouldn't have been dropped, or he was disguised, wasn't he? So all the exterior stuff, he was in disguise, and nobody knew it was him.
Exactly.
So they could have got away with not actually having any announcement about him coming back.
Yeah.
Any press knowledge, because they did episode 1 of Series 10 had him pop up right at the end of the trailer. And they had to trust people not to spoil that, and it's like you could have actually got away if you just not. So there's a fine balance. You need to reveal enough stuff to get people excited, but don't go. Oh, by the way, because you know what? Series 10's finale, that bit where he reveals himself as the master. If I didn't know he was coming back, that would have been fucking awesome.
I
would have gone. What?
What? It's complete mind blown sort of thing. But yeah, no.
And then I knew. I was like, oh, there he is.
Spent
the time going, I wonder when the Master's going to pop up in this. He's coming. Oh, there he is. He's the bloke in disguise. It's like you just. This is why now Chidwell's done a U-turn on this. It's gone. I'm not going to tell you anything about the series, and there's nothing really to spoil, to be fair. But we're going to hold it to our chest. And now it's gone. Oh, they wanted some info. They're all Judoon's in it, and we're going to get lots of spoilers, aren't we?
I have a feeling that this is going to be semi-spoilerish, which is why I'm going to try and remain social media free for Doctor Who, because I want to be able to watch the first episode and be like, ooh, what's going to happen next? Not that, oh, it's just such and such, I'm not really interested, blah 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 sort of thing. I don't want that. I want to be like looking at it going, ooh, this is going to be amazing. Not
You want something to get you excited, not to the point where you go, well, it takes the excitement away from actually watching it. So we've touched upon a variety of different aspects of it. From what we've discussed, I gather that the point we're making with this is, I think character development needs to be more touched upon. I think there needs to be some sense of jeopardy.
Yes.
To be lost in our series.
From where I sit, it's character improvement by a long shot. More like consequential problems.
Yeah.
Not just like this is the problem, all fixed, everyone's happy. It's more of this is the problem. If we go this way about it, this will happen. But if we go this way, something good might happen.
Yeah.
Or it might just completely unravel.
Yeah.
A split consequence. I want something that has a consequence.
Yeah.
A butterfly effect, so to speak.
So there's those factors. I think something to challenge Jodie's Doctor.
Yes.
We've not had that.
Moral challenging.
Now you might sort of mock me for this, but the only time the Doctor's ever had a proper face-off of anything that I feel was even relatably, this is reasonably epic-ish, was when she confronted Krasko in episode 3, where he stood on top of the barrels after he shot at them, and she confronts him then. But even then it was like, could have been a bit better. We need some real moments where Jodie showed, because I haven't seen that yet. Like I said, peril, so we need to lose one of these TARDIS members.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have another one.
I want to see, and this is going to sound very dark, but I want to see them have them there and then just unravel. Everything comes apart.
You know what might actually be really good, which might affect the rest of the series? One of them gets maybe killed off. One of them goes in the first episode of the new series. Because that will change the tone between the Doctor and the other two.
Yeah.
And then have it play out without the rest of it. and see how it affects the relationship between the other three. And then that might cause one of them to go at the end of the series.
But
and then you've got Doctor, one companion. You could bring in 2 more in the next series. I actually quite like having 3 companions.
I will say it's nice to have more than.
But it is
one.
hard to write for.
It is, yeah, agreeably, it is hard to write for having multiple characters. But if you,
because
you've got to get the chemistry
Doctor,
right.
3 companions, and then you've got to introduce a load of supporting characters. At that point, the cast is something like 10, 15 characters, and you're like, well, you know, you've only got 50 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Which is why I say about 2-parters to develop characters and stuff.
Definitely. It definitely needs to happen because there's just not enough character development. And it must, and I can't stress this enough, it's got to have an underlying story arc.
Yeah.
It's got to have something that, you know, ties into everything.
Writers, I would do the following. I would do basically Chibnall, open and close. I'll have a couple from the Blast series come back. A couple from who have written for the show since the new series.
Yeah.
Maybe Rob Shearman, who hasn't done anything since Dalek, because Dalek was really good.
Yeah.
Maybe a classic writer.
Definitely bring back some of the old
And then
writers.
bring in a couple new, and then if it's spaces, I'm trying to work this out here, so if Chibnall does 2, let's say have 2 from the last one, a couple older series ones, 1 from the Ghost series, and 3 new writers, or 2 new writers. And then you've got a mixed bag of ideas, people who've worked on the show at different points in its life. Chibnall is a fan of the show, he knows how it works, it's just, I think it's quite a task to take on a show like that.
It is, especially when you've got a show with so much history.
And I think the BBC had a role in toning him back a bit. I think.
I'm a strong believer that he had, because I mean he wrote Broadchurch, which was amazing.
He looked after Torchwood's first 2 series. He was the showrunner of that. You think Russell T Davies was? Chris Chibnall wrote and showran Torchwood's first 2 series.
Yeah, and look how good they were.
I think Series 1 was a bit.
Well, you've got to remember though, Series 1 was testing the water because it's the same with everything.
It's the same thing, testing the water.
And it went really well, as you can see by the 3 other seasons afterwards.
Chibnall strikes me as a man who will look at what's happened with this series, gone, well, I know what people liked, I know what people didn't like, and let's fix that.
Yeah.
And I actually honestly believe the Series 12 will be, even with the fact that he's now bringing in older monsters already without sort of any degree of like hesitation, he's looking at, you know, we're waiting to see what he does with the cast, with any cast changes, any writer changes, any director changes. But I believe we're going to be happier, a lot happier.
Yeah, I do, because obviously I've watched Broadchurch, I've watched Torchwood religiously.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen the writing there. I've seen how like grippy and how juicy it can be when you sink your teeth into it. But there wasn't any of that in Series 11. I don't feel there was anything there that was substantially, you know, thingy. Yeah. I can't describe quite what I'm...
Just the idea to grip you and get you involved. Okay, I think we have covered that then. I think that's what it is. That for you personally, you need to basically have an incentive to see the whole thing from start to finish.
Yeah, it's got to have an underlying arc, really good character progression.
People who understand the show to write the show.
Yes.
I think changing cast is good. I think against the cast we've got now, but obviously when you've got 4 characters like that, I think Yasmin desperately needs some degree of character development. If she goes through Series 12 the same she did Series 11, she's basically almost already at the bottom of companion lists.
Yeah.
Everyone going, and Yasmin's at the bottom because she just stands in the background and
it's just sort of
does exposition at the Doctor and you know.
Yeah.
So you know, there's that. So I think to sum up, there's a lot to be changed, isn't there?
There is. There's a lot to change. There is a lot to change. And on that note, I think we best call it...
Mike's eyeing up a cup of tea again.
I am
This is his
eyeing
third,
up...
and he's only been here about an hour.
It may be the 3rd,
like
but we've had a lot to talk about.
He's like he inhales it. It's just like God.
Well, that's how I keep that's how my system runs. I run on tea and coffee.
So thanks a lot for watching. This is probably about an incredibly long video to edit. It might become 2 videos. So I do strongly suspect it's going to be a 2-part. You know, the one on topic, and the one where we rambled about everything else.
Yes,
I knew that was going to happen.
First title: the topic of conversation.
What we do with as the showrunner.
Showrunner, and
then Luke and Mike rambling about Doctor Who for 10 hours.
Followed by Ramble.
Part 3, all the deleted shit of us going on. Bye!
See you later!